Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show, as if you didn't know it. And we have a big show for you today. At the bottom of the hour, Noel Shepard will join us from Malzberg's Media Madness. A lot of good stuff on tap in that segment. We also have Rick Santorum coming up later in the show. Good show, as always. And Dr. Terry Jones, who was arrested yesterday before he could burn the 3,000 Qurans as he had planned to do. He was arrested on a traffic stop. He wasn't even driving. They were apparently pulling the kerosene for the burner that they were going to burn the Qurans in, and they threw him in jail until, I guess, overnight, until today, so he couldn't do the burning. Gee, what a coincidence. What a coinky-dink. Most people will get pulled over for traffic stops or thrown in jail. Anyway, so we'll talk to him, hopefully, about that. But a couple of issues. First of all, two quotes. John Kerry with his counterpart from Russia, and he's up there on the podium, and he says, "This is not a joke." He says, "We're not kidding about this, about Syria." We're going to talk to Charles Hurt later on, who wrote a great piece, echoing what a lot of people have been saying, but in his own unique way, about what a circus this is, what a joke it's turned into. It is a joke, Mr. Secretary. It's a sad joke. I can't believe that this has happened, that we have gotten to this point. Anyway, we'll talk about that. I'm really getting tired of talking about it, but we will. And this is a good one. Who said that if Obamacare cannot be fixed, it must be replaced? Well, let's see. Some of your right-wing anarchists, as Harry Reid called them today, who want to just insult the president because he's black, I guess, and do anything against the president they could, and who cares about Obamacare? It's only right-wingers. Yeah. This is the president of the Laborers International Union of North America, Terry O'Sullivan. That's right. The AFL-CIO came out. We tried to get representatives from the AFL-CIO, union representatives. Chad tried really hard. No one would come on the show because they don't want to really ultimately humiliate Obama over and over and over again. But they made their announcement, and the unions are making their announcement, and more people are getting laid off. And guess what we're not talking about? We're not talking about Obamacare, which in a couple of weeks people are going to start signing up for. Story after story is all over the web about this industry, this company, this university, laying people off, cutting their hours. That's okay. Let's not talk about it. Let's just talk about Syria. All right, so we'll get to all of this, and your calls are always welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday we had a nice response. 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660, if you'd like to weigh in. This struck me, a couple things struck me today. General Petraeus, the retired four-star general, former CIA director, who resigned in scandal last year. He is now teaching at New York City University, CUNY. He lectures at CUNY, and it's called the City University of New York. It's the acronym, and Chad didn't know it, by the way. He couldn't say it right. He's not from New York. And the fact of the matter is that he was originally going to get like a $250,000 salary for this, and then there was an outrage, and so he took $1 or whatever. This guy, I'm going to play something for you. This guy is getting followed around by left-wing lunatics, and he has no security. No security. And I want you to hear, and if you're watching at Newsmax TV, I want you to see what this looks like and sounds like. This is cut number 33.
This is General Petraeus. He's over manslaughter right here.
You disgusting imperialist! You are nothing but a disgusting imperialist!
You will. You will.
media.
Piece of shit.
We're
You have
here.
blood all over you. I can
You
smell your
scumbag.
dirt.
You're watching you now, you CUNY. Piece of shit.
Why are you teaching at CUNY? What do you have to say? Huh?
Yo, this-
Every class, David!
Every class, David! Every class, David! Every class, David! Every class, David! Every class, David!
All right, they're shouting or chanting every class, David, every class. In other words, they're going to follow him around to every class. He's walking through the streets, and there's nobody. He's alone, carrying a briefcase, surrounded by these, pathetic-looking excuses for students. I wonder how many of them are actually students, and they call them a scumbag. I mean, this is outrageous. No security, no protection, no nothing. And this is how they treat a 60-year-old man, 61-year-old man who served his country for his whole life. This is how they treat them. This is how the loony left treats him. Now, as far as I know, he's not involved in anything right now. Why don't they go protest possible action in Syria? But no, that would make too much sense. And plus, then they'd have to go follow around the President of the United States or John Kerry or Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden. And we can't be doing that. Can't be doing that. Here's more. Here's cut 34.
Betray us out of CUNY! 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 That's betraying! He's a war criminal! He's a war criminal! He's a war criminal right here! He deserves to be tried! What you doing in our school? Trial! You should get out of our school system. You don't belong here. You're just nothing but a war criminal. Disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself, goddammit.
I mean, folks, nobody should be subjected to this. They are in his face. He's a private citizen. He's walking in the streets of New York, crossing the street. They're in his face, a couple of these so-called protesters, chanting in his face, pointing out he's a war criminal, hindering his path. I wish he would have stopped and took out his cell and called 911. But I guess he was in fear of his safety. I mean, to his credit, he just didn't even bat an eye. Kept walking, didn't bat an eye. It's disgraceful, and I don't understand how a university or, wherever he was walking, I'm assuming he was walking on the campus of the university. It was his first lecture at City University of New York's Macaulay Honors College. And this was on Monday. And this is outrageous. They need to give this man security. Now, it is football season, as you well know, ladies and gentlemen. And the commissioner of the NFL was interviewed today. And he had something to say about the ongoing controversy regarding the name of the team that plays in our nation's capital, the Washington Redskins. Did I say the name clearly and loudly enough? Did you hear the name? Yeah, okay. Now who was I speaking to? Who was I speaking to about this not too long ago who said, and I bought into it, that, hey, Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, works for the owners. Roger Goodell is not going to get involved in this. Roger Goodell is not going to tell the Redskins they have to change their name because he works for the owners. Now, so I don't know if he's just paying lip service by what you're going to hear him say. He said this on a radio interview. And by the way, this is really disgusting. What set this up was, that there was, where was it, Politico or somebody? No. It was one of the papers that covered the Redskins. They weren't going to call them the Redskins anymore. Remember that? Maybe I forget what it was. But now, Sports Illustrated's Peter King's website has decided to refer to the team as the Washington Football Team. The Washington Football Team. Now, I've known Peter King. I've known of him. I've used to interview him a lot for years. He's legendary, not the congressman. And he won't call them the Redskins anymore. And the owner of the Redskins says that, he's not ever Actually, let me quote him correctly. Dan Snyder said he will never change the team name and does not intend to sell the franchise. So here's Roger Goodell commenting on that on a radio station. And here it is, cut 35.
You know, the team name is part of their history and tradition, and that's something that's important to the Redskins fans. And, you know, I think what we have to do, though, is we have to listen. If one person is offended, we have to listen. And ultimately it is Dan's decision, but it's something that I want all of us to go out and make sure we're listening to our fans, listening to people who have a different view.
I think it's lip service. If one person is offended, we have to listen? Really? Is that how we run our country? Is that how we run our businesses? Is that how we run our society? If one person is offended, we have to listen and make accommodation? He didn't say that part, but I don't think we listen when one person is offended. Everybody's offended about something. We'd never get anywhere. We'd never move forward with anything if one person was offended. Now, I think it's lip service. I don't think he will ever do anything unless all the other owners ganged up and got together and said, you know, we want him to change the name, fine him, suspend him, make him change, whatever. But I don't know if that's going to happen. And I keep hearkening back to the great liberal, Ted Turner, and the great traitor, in my opinion, Jane Fonda, who at Braves game after Braves game after Braves game would sit there in the stands and go, woo, hoo, 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 as they do the tomahawk chop. And you folks listening in Atlanta know exactly what I'm talking about. Gee, Ted Turner was never called out for being a racist or owning a team called the Braves or anything like that. No, he's a good liberal. We leave him alone. Double standard extraordinaire. All right, folks, you want to weigh in on any of this? 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com.
Obamacare. More than $1 trillion in new costs. Hidden taxes, fees, big Medicare cuts, doctor shortages. How can we survive?
To know Obamacare is to survive Obamacare. The Obamacare Survival Guide tells you everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
We're in the midst of an obesity epidemic, and I'm not surprised. The statistics on obesity mirror an increasing trend of eating out or ordering in. In fact, some people dine out every night, but eating in restaurants is one of the biggest enemies of your heart. When you're in a restaurant, you don't really know what you're getting, and the calorie counts of many restaurant dishes are astronomical. In fact, some single dishes contain more calories than we should eat in an entire day. Eating in fast food restaurants is even worse. A diet of hamburgers, French fries, and shakes constitutes a fast lane to the emergency room. If you really want to help your heart, get in the habit of cooking simple meals at home. Here are 3 easy tips that will make your food taste better than even the best restaurant. Choose the best fruit in season. Your local farmer's market is a great place to start. It will probably still cost less than that pie you were thinking of buying. Get in the habit of using fresh herbs. You can use them in egg white omelets or dust them on the fish you grill or bake. And for a light dessert, choose a square or 2 of dark chocolate that you and your spouse can enjoy. There are lots of ways to make your heart healthy, but there are also lots of ways to damage it. That's why I wrote Fix It, Dr. Crandall's 90-day program. In it, I'll tell you how to kickstart your metabolism every day, how to pick the best diet for you, how to stop hunger from sabotaging your diet, the 7 superfoods for your heart. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the big show, 855-777-9660. Interesting story, very disturbing story. Have you ever seen an American eagle, a bald eagle? I have, and they are just majestic, and they symbolize what they symbolize because of their majestic appearance, and they're an endangered species, they're a protected species, and they're just magnificent and breathtaking to look at. Unfortunately, they're dying. And do you want to know how they're dying? And not according to me, but according to government biologists. Wind energy farms, wind farms, or wind energy facilities, whatever you want to call them, have killed at least 67 golden bald eagles in the last 5 years. And these scientists say that the figure could be much higher. The research represents one of the first tallies of eagle deaths attributed to the nation's growing wind energy industry, which, of course, is a pillar of Barack Obama's green plan to prevent so-called global warming. But at a minimum, the scientists write that wind farms in 10 states have killed at least 85 eagles since 1967. I'm sorry, 1997. 85 since 1997, with most deaths occurring between 2008 and 2012. Gee, who was president during most of that time? I'll give you, anyway. Most deaths, 79, were golden eagles that struck wind turbines. One of the eagles counted in the study was electrocuted by a power line. The vice president of the American Bird Conservatory said the tally was an alarming and concerning finding. Now, you know that they halt projects when we find out that a species of worm might be endangered, or or some kind of bug or insect might be endangered. But these wind farms, we've known for a long time that they kill birds. That birds fly into them, birds get killed, chopped up. And now we're finding out that they kill eagles. Well, how much more environmentally unfriendly could this be? Yet, have you heard anything about it? Do you hear the environmentalist nutjobs screaming about this? I don't think so. I haven't heard anything. Silence is golden in their case, but their silence is deafening. Now, I want to show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to pull a Senator Rubio in a little bit here. Watch this. Took a drink of water. And I took a drink of water because I'm a good American. because when my first lady says I need to drink more water, I say, yes, ma'am, how much? I wish I was kidding. I really do. First of all, yesterday, First Lady Michelle Obama's office held a conference call, not with her, but the executive director of Let's Move, Sam Cass, a Partnership for a Healthier America president and CEO Lawrence Solar, and industry representatives on 9/11 held a conference call that was embargoed until today. They couldn't release the information until today about a new nationwide effort by Michelle Obama to get everyone to drink more water. Isn't that great? How special. See, I didn't know you're supposed to drink water. Me, when I get thirsty, never occurs to me to drink. I ignore it. I don't drink when I'm thirsty. And by the way, if you drink when you're thirsty, Dr. Michelle says that's not good enough. No matter how much water you're currently drinking, drink more water, says Michelle Obama. Now, reaction to this has been mixed. Of course, some people, on the left, the media, they think this is just wonderful. Just wonderful. Michelle Obama telling us to drink more water. It's great. There are doctors out there who say the body knows when it needs more water. We don't have to be told. And you don't want to drink too much water because that could be bad. So it depends kind of on how much water you're already drinking. But hey, I listen to Michelle Obama when she speaks to me. That's right. That's why I eat fried rice balls whenever I could. I follow her example. All right, folks, we're coming back. Malzberg's Media Madness with the great Noel Shepard of newsbusters.org right here on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Drug, alcohol, and gambling addiction can be devastating for you and your loved ones. Don't let the disease of addiction ruin everything you've worked so hard for. The Treatment Helpline has helped thousands of people just like you take control of their addictions and live healthier, cleaner, and happier lives. You are not alone. Now there's hope. The Treatment Helpline has helped people just like you overcome their addiction. If you or a loved one is suffering from a drug, alcohol, or gambling addiction, let us help you today. Call 1-800-813-9821. Our seasoned addiction treatment professionals can show you how to use your private health insurance to help cover the costs of this life-changing program. Call now and get a free confidential consultation. 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821. Help is only a phone call away. Call 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming. The shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5-ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The Silver Polar Bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking, and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings savings on your health care at SocialSecurity311.com. You will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
If you need to lose weight and would like to get paid for it, that's right, I said get paid to lose weight. Just listen to the following announcement. The makers of GCE Green Coffee Bean Weight Loss are looking for real testimonials from real people and will pay you per pound to meet or exceed your weight loss goal. Until now, the secrets of green coffee's fat-burning power has been limited. But thanks to Dr. Oz, the secret is out. And now, this authentic green coffee bean fat burner is available in easy-to-take tablets. There are no expensive meals to buy or strenuous workouts. Simply take one tablet before each meal and record your progress. Only the first 200 callers are guaranteed to be accepted into the program. So if you're serious about losing extra weight and want to earn extra cash for fitting into your skinny jeans again, call 800-383-9230 now. Call 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230. Space is limited, so hurry and secure your spot today. 800-383-9230. Some conditions apply. 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Hi, I'm Steve.
I'm Irene.
I'm Lisa.
My name is Tom. I'm a graphic designer.
College freshman.
Stay-at-home mom with a full-time job.
Scholar on social policy and a barista.
And I'm just like you.
I'm an Obama supporter.
I support President Obama.
But the president needs your help.
Our president can't launch into another war without you. And remember, when we voted for him in 2008 and 2012, we promised to support him no matter what.
Together, we can do it.
That's why we here at the Americans for Whatever Barack Obama Wants, Did You Know He's Friends with Jay-Z, have launched a Kickstarter campaign to fund World War III.
And America is dead-ass broke, so our goal is to raise $1.6 trillion on behalf of the U.S. government.
That's where you come in.
Even a small donation would make all the difference.
Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, and what a great way to start off Malzberg's Media Madness with our buddy Noel Shepard, the associate editor at newsbusters.org. Hey, Noel. Hey, Noel.
Hello, can you hear me?
I hear you now. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you, sir?
Good, good. That was so funny. You highlighted that in a piece at Newsbusters the other day. That was what, Second City?
Second City, and for those that potentially have forgotten because it's been so long since they've been on TV, I mean, they used to actually be on, I think it was NBC on either Friday night.
John Candy, right, and all those guys.
John Candy, Harold Ramis, Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
Eugene Levy.
Yep.
Great, absolutely funny stuff. And this was Second City was originally in Chicago. And actually, for folks that don't recall, much of the original Saturday Night Live cast, what's his name, John Belushi, was a Second Cityer. So was Dan Aykroyd. I think Jane Curtin also was Second City. So just a fabulous group, and one that you would typically consider to be quite liberal.
Yeah.
And here they are, just going after the Obama bots. You know, let's go to war. Let's fund this war.
Well, we got one more cut. We got one more cut of this, Noel. I want to play it. This will be cut number 31.
World War III is a very important, very progressive war that Obama tells me is very important. So it must be.
When I first saw the president speak in 2008 in a YouTube clip posted to my Facebook page, I knew he was going to be right all the time. So I support World War III and IV. And any moon war the president may want to start.
I mean, there is no way that he or the cabal of corporate interests, spy agencies, and shadow bankers that tell him what to do would ever mislead us.
It is pretty shocking that, and I didn't even, to be honest, I didn't know they were still around. But when this is a great piece and great stuff. Good find.
Well, and then it continues. The 1.6 trillion that we raise will help create a war that truly puts the liberal in neoliberal. There'll be millions of troops, thousands of organic grass-fed bombs, hybrid Prius tanks, rockets controlled by iPads, and drones that play the Lumineers while they attack. It's really, really well done stuff. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. And shocking again, coming from a comedy troupe that one has to believe is quite liberal. So if they're seeing the hypocrisy of the Obama bots marching us to war, it's pretty extraordinary.
Well, absolutely, and it doesn't really stop there. Why don't we continue to our friend Jay Leno, who has, except when he sits and talks with Obama, has been critical of Obama, especially since it was announced he's leaving. Let's go to cut 22. Cut 22.
A little cooler today. It wasn't so bad today. It wasn't quite so hot out today. It's still a little warm, but you can tell fall is coming to the east, you know. The leaves are changing faster than the White House position on Syria. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, there you go again.
Yeah, and actually he went on for about 2 or 3 minutes just railing on the Obama administration and Biden and Kerry and this was, frankly, I thought that was Jay at his political finest. I mean, it was really a marvelous moment. I'm trying to remember if it was Monday or Tuesday. Really great stuff, and again, it makes you wonder why, a month ago or so when he had Obama on, why he wasn't harder. But maybe he feels that's not his role, and he'll hit Obama when he's not around. Maybe he's right. Maybe the president is due more respect on a late night talk show than that.
Yeah, well, maybe so. But and again, it doesn't stop here. I mean, you provided over the course of this week, Noel, many examples of criticism of the president coming from not where you would expect it to come from. And here we have Tavis Smiley. Of PBS fame with his radio show that he does with what's his name, Cornel West.
Cornel West.
Yeah, and listen to cut number 12.
It's one thing to honor Martin with our words in Washington one day, and then 48 hours later start making plans to dishonor him with our deeds in Syria. Here you have a war president with a peace prize. Once again, the parallel between King and Obama just doesn't measure up. He ought to just take that bust out of the Oval Office if you're going to dishonor Martin in this way, particularly after standing where you stood on Wednesday.
All right, now, just so you know, I don't think we should go into Syria at all. Having said that, I'm surprised at what Smiley said, and you picked up on it, and it's certainly a great story. But I don't understand Smiley. And you could address both Smiley saying this and what he actually said. I don't understand Smiley. I know that the juxtapositioning is probably what he's talking about, that, he gave the speech on King Day and now he's talking about war with Syria. But I didn't know that you're supposed to live your life by Martin Luther King Jr. and don't do anything that might offend or differ from Martin Luther King Jr., or you don't deserve to have his bust in your office. I don't get that.
Well, look, Tavis and Cornel West have been tremendously hard on Obama for a variety of issues, but certainly the drone strikes and his whole foreign policy, which they both morally, and I respect them for this, they both morally think that Obama's foreign policy is totally wrong, and it goes tremendously against King's principles. And I think that what they were discussing here is we're still kind of in the post 50-year anniversary of the march kind of haze here, glow. So I think that he's still. I think they're both very, very much offended by what transpired at that 50th anniversary. They both were very outspoken about what Sharpton had to say, and referred to, I think Cornel West referred to Sharpton as Obama's plantation boy.
Yep.
Pretty bad stuff. So I think that what's kind of neat.
I think he called him a house Negro, actually.
I think he called him a house Negro. Yeah. So I think what's neat from these two is they're very, very progressive. They're very, very far to the left, but they're being consistent with their views, and they're willing to, as African Americans, shockingly enough, they're willing to come out and talk about when this president is naked. And there's not a lot in the media, certainly not a lot of black people in the media that are willing to do this. I give them both a lot of credit.
Yeah, no, I guess, like I said, I do too. I just wonder about his, almost requiring Obama to have some kind of allegiance to King's doctrine, if you will, or beliefs in carrying out his presidency.
Would that necessarily be a bad thing? I mean, let's assume that. I mean, I think you and I would both agree that potentially one of the big problems in our society, particularly as it pertains to race, is that nobody has stepped into King's footsteps and followed his real beliefs.
Oh, no. Race-wise, I wish Obama would be more like King and less like Sharpton and Jay. Absolutely. But when it comes to foreign policy, I don't know that you could really. But you're, like I said, what you pointed out and bringing this to the public was great stuff. Now, here's another one that surprised me because he doesn't do it all that much. Joe Scarborough defining Obama's foreign policy and how he's handled Syria in cut number 14.
It's Mr. Magoo's foreign policy. This guy's stumbling through history, and he couldn't be doing it at a worse time. The Washington Post, even in the last hour, the Washington Post posted their editorial board said that Obama enters this speech tonight in a deep political hole of his own digging. His foreign policy has been stumbling, improvised, and incoherent. I think that's putting it politely.
It's Mr. Magoo's foreign policy. That line grabbed me.
Yeah, no, Joe in the past couple of weeks has been very, very hard on Obama. And, look, we conservatives, we give Joe a hard time because we don't think he's as conservative as we'd like, and we think that he sometimes appears to be towing a Democrat line to, make his MSNBC viewers and buddies happy. But he clearly is not pleased with this president as far as his foreign policy, and actually, he's suggested that this man is worse than Jimmy Carter, and that's saying something.
Okay, well, we're talking to Noel Shepard, by the way, the associate editor of newsbusters.org, here on the Steve Malzberg Show, our segment we call Malzberg's Media Madness. And you wrote today about Joe Klein. And something that Joe Klein wrote, Time Magazine's Joe Klein, that the consequences of Obama's amateur display ripple out across the world. So here again, more criticism from the left. And Klein, we're talking hardcore left.
We're talking hardcore left. I mean, this was rather surprising coming from Klein. He also said, as it pertains to Obama's Syria policy, one of the more stunning and inexplicable displays of presidential incompetence that I've ever witnessed. Wow.
Yeah.
I guess at this point in time, we have to conclude that Joe Klein is a racist. I mean, there's no other way of, he's got to be. You can't say this stuff about Obama and not be racist. Although, is it okay to say negative things about Obama and not be racist if you're a liberal? Maybe that's the case.
Were you the one at Newsbusters who wrote about Susan Sarandon and Tim Robbins?
Yes.
Okay. They were asked. They were at a film festival, and they were asked about what they thought of the the impending action or the threat of action against Syria, and they just the folks were told they were unavailable for comment.
Unavailable for comment. Yes. The folks at the Hollywood Reporter went to the Toronto Film Festival that's going on right now, and they wanted to get some comments about the war from Hollywoodans there, and they were specifically trying to. Now, Robbins and Sarandon are not together any longer,
right?
But they were both at this festival, and their representative said they're not available for comment. They couldn't find, the Hollywood Reporter couldn't find anybody at the festival to speak about the Syrian war. Let me rephrase that. They did find someone who was going to agree to talk to them, and then the producer of the film that this individual was involved with said, don't do it.
Unbelievable. And that dovetails with another story that was on Newsbusters. And again, I apologize if it was your story or not. Ed Asner, who said that the reason people in Hollywood won't speak out against Obama in Syria is that they don't want to be viewed as racist.
Yeah, I think that was an interesting thing for him to say, but I'm not sure I agree with that. Because look, Hollywoodans have cover from racism.
I like that, Hollywoodans. I like that.
Yeah, Hollywoodans have cover from racism and homophobia, right? There's no way anybody in Hollywood, certainly not Alec Baldwin, could possibly be homophobic, even if he goes on a homophobic rant. No, he really didn't mean that. So, and I think the same is true for racism. Nobody believes that anybody in Hollywood could possibly be racist. So I think he's wrong on this. I think it's just more of a Bill Clinton type of a situation where, if you remember, irrespective of his serial adultery and misogyny, the women in Hollywood and the National Organization of Women were never going to speak ill about Bill Clinton because they agreed with everything else about his agenda. And I think that's the case here, is they agree with virtually all of the Obama agenda, or at least a tremendous amount of it, and they're just uncomfortable speaking out against their hero.
Yeah,
and it's sad.
I agree with you. Now, one more, and this is something you wrote yesterday at newsbusters.org, and the Obama speech. More people watched Barack Obama's Syria address on Fox News than on CNN and MSNBC combined. And I think that speaks volumes.
I think it really does. I mean, we don't have the numbers yet from ABC, CBS, and NBC, so we don't really know what those numbers are. But from a cable standpoint, Fox had 4 million viewers as the president was speaking. CNN had, I think
almost
it was
1.9.
1.9 million, and MSNBC had 1.2 million. So you add them up, and Fox had almost 1 million more. So you ask yourself, well, why would that be? I mean, the media are constantly telling us that Fox is full of Obama bashers 24/7, and the only people that watch Fox are Obama haters. So you would have thought that this wouldn't have drawn all that well on Fox. Is it possible that people didn't want to tune into CNN or MSNBC because they actually wanted to hear some critical analysis of what the president said, as opposed to just the echo chamber that exists on CNN and certainly on MSNBC? I think it's possible. I mean, it's interesting. What we've seen all year long is on significant news events, people are turning to Fox. They're not turning to MSNBC, and they're not necessarily turning to CNN, not in the numbers that they used to.
Right.
So I wonder whether, irrespective of how the media claim Fox is just a right-wing echo chamber, I wonder if people are coming to the realization that regardless of the center-right slant, you really do get significantly more actual analysis of the news on Fox as opposed to just a liberal echo chamber. And maybe people even in the middle, maybe people even on the left. I mean, I've got liberal friends who watch Fox they don't like many of the commentators, but they watch Fox because they say, indeed, you really do get analysis that you don't get elsewhere.
You do, because you have, and I've said this all along, and I have no axe to grind with Fox, or no, they don't pay me any money. You really do have so many people on the left, either as hosts or paid contributors, giving analysis opposite someone on the right, whereas MSNBC, that just doesn't exist, and CNN, even if they're on the right, they're basically watered down from the right. So it's interesting, very interesting, and always interesting. I wish you a very happy, healthy New Year, easy fast, and all that stuff on Yom Kippur, Noel, and thank you very much. Yes, and back to you and your family, and we'll speak to you next week, my friend.
Sounds good, sir.
Thank you. Noel Shepard, ladies and gentlemen, Associate Editor of newsbusters.org, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I mean, CNN, notwithstanding Fox's, better standing in particular shows in prime time, when there was breaking news, when there was something going on, CNN was the place where people turned. Not everybody, but certainly the numbers bore that out. Not anymore. Not anymore. Now it's Fox, and there's got to be a reason. And CNN, I believe, has attempted to remake itself, but they've remade themselves in their own image. They've changed nothing. They've changed some faces, but they've changed nothing. Nothing. The Republicans they have on, the so-called people from the right, are really center or left, and, with the exception of Newt possibly, and that's it. And everything else is the same. Rush Limbaugh's got a book coming out, a children's book. Carol Costello, who hosts mornings, not morning show, but in the morning on CNN, she tweeted out something to the effect of, Rush Limbaugh has a children's book coming out, I think I'm going to be sick. I mean, that's how nuts these people are. And until that changes, the ratings will continue to dwindle. All right, folks, we're coming back. 855-777-9660, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Meet Jim. Like many of us, Jim enjoys a busy life. Between work, family, and friends, his days zip along. And Jim has the energy to tackle almost anything. But lately, Jim's get up and go has literally taken on a new meaning. Jim's always put focus on a full night's sleep. But it seems like these days, he's up and down to go to the bathroom so many times he can barely wake up in the morning. His prostate concerns have him sad, tired, and worried. Activities that were once enjoyable now seem like a chore for Jim. His golf game is at the mercy of his bathroom schedule. Family outings are planned around it too. Jim even has difficulty going to the bathroom. He's tried so many prostate remedies he can't keep them straight, and nothing ever seems to help. Then Jim found out about Prostate Revive, the all-natural dietary supplement specifically formulated for men, targeted towards improving and sustaining normal prostate function. Prostate Revive includes 15 super ingredients never combined before, including saw palmetto extract, beta-cytosterol, pomegranate fruit extract, selenium, and other high-quality nutrients. These targeted and all-natural ingredients promote healthy urinary flow and optimal prostate health. And the best part is, Prostate Revive was developed by a renowned medical doctor. Dr. David Brownstein personally formulated Prostate Revive with one goal in mind: to promote a healthy prostate gland. Thanks to Prostate Revive, Jim's got his life back. He gets a full night's sleep every night, and his friends and his wife can't believe he's the same guy. He has his old energy back, and no one has to wait for him. He doesn't even think about his prostate concerns anymore. Visit MedicSelect.com to take back your nights and improve your quality of life with Prostate Revive.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back. Coming up in the next hour, we are going to speak to former U.S. Senator Rick Santorum, and we're also going to hopefully hook up with Dr. Terry Jones. If not Dr. Jones, then his assistant, who was also arrested along with him yesterday as they were on their way to go burn the almost 3,000 Qurans to, in their words, honor the memory. One Quran burned for each of the victims of the 9/11 attacks. They never got to do that down in Florida yesterday, so we will talk to, hopefully, Terry Jones. They went to jail. We'll tell you why, we'll tell you what happened, and what they might plan to do in an exclusive interview with either one of those gentlemen in the next hour also. But I shouldn't sing, right? There she is. That's not how I really sing. Miss America. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, Atlantic City. There's a little bit of a controversy going on because this is a first. Whenever there's a first, there's a controversy. It turns out that Miss America, Miss Kansas, has tattoos. But not just one little tattoo or anything like that. She's got tattoos. The entire right side of Teresa Vale's body is covered in a tattoo, and another on her back represents her military service. And the tattoo on the right side is the serenity prayer. It says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. And she says the prayer helped her as a child get through difficult times. So when she wears, her bikini or her bathing suit, you see these tattoos. So some people, of course, are, it's a prayer, it's religion, blah, blah. She's going to go, she's going to win. Now, I shouldn't say she's going to win. What I should say is she probably won't win. I don't know if she has a chance or not, but probably, if there's any kind of relation to Christianity here, she will not win. On the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names. Really? Yeah. They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the New York Headache Center.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Malzberg. After studying and researching the human brain for 25 years, I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my patients, and I'm so convinced it will work for you. I don't just guarantee it, I put my name on it.
Dr. Malzberg's Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast, and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2967.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Russian President Vladimir Putin is reaching out to the American people in a New York Times editorial. Putin urged America to use caution with Syria. He says a strike there will result in more innocent people dying and will cause the violence to spread throughout the Middle East. He then referenced President Obama's speech to the nation Tuesday night, where the president said American principles are what makes us different and exceptional. Putin disagreed, saying all humans are created by God as equal. Meanwhile, Bashar Assad says the decision to turn over its weapons was based solely on the offer from Russia and had nothing to do with the U.S. military threat. Meanwhile, U.S. lawmakers say they are willing to give this diplomatic option a chance, but Arizona Republican Senator John McCain has questions about President Putin and his motives.
Why did Putin say that we have to renounce the use of force, which is impossible? Why is it that the Russians announced today they may sell missiles to Syria?
And now Syria is saying it will hand over its weapons only if the U.S. stops arming rebels there. So a lot of moving parts in play. Meanwhile, that political settlement Putin is calling for could still be in the works. Secretary of State John Kerry has been meeting with his Russian counterpart in Switzerland today. If the Russian plan is real, it could be a way to avoid a U.S. military strike. Kerry is now testing if Moscow is putting forward a credible and verifiable plan to locate and destroy all of Syria's chemical weapons.
We're not naive about the challenges. We don't think this will be easy, but that's why we're going to Geneva.
We now are expecting 2 days of very technical and very intense talks between 30 arms control experts and diplomats from the U.S. side and a large Russian delegation. There has not been a lot of trust between the U.S. and Russia right now, and Secretary Kerry wants his counterpart, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, to offer up 1,000 tons of chemical weapons the U.S. believes Syria has. In the meantime, while the diplomacy happens, the fighting still rages on in Syria. And in Louisiana, on the anniversary of 9/11, someone vandalized a memorial honoring first responders and victims of the terrorist attacks. Police found 2 cardboard planes attached to steel beams that were pulled from the Ground Zero location and moved to the city of Lafayette. On each plane, the initials WNWO appeared, referencing the New World Order conspiracy theory. That theory includes the belief that the 9/11 attacks were carried out by the United States government. Police did make 1 arrest as a result of that vandalism. And coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, deadly floods hit Colorado. A look at the amazing rescue efforts to save people trapped in their cars there. Plus a Newsmax exclusive with Congressman Ted Poe on what would have to happen if Congress did vote on a military strike on Syria.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at Aftershock911.com. Aftershock911.com.
What is LigNet? LigNet is knowledge. LigNet is power. LigNet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is LigNet? LigNet is confidential. LigNet is sensitive. LigNet is security. What is LigNet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
Welcome back. Roads are washed out, homes are flooded, and neighborhoods are being evacuated after a half a foot of rain fell in Colorado overnight. At least 2 people were killed. 3 drivers near Boulder had to be rescued from their trucks and cars after floodwaters washed out the roads there. Their vehicles plunged into a fast-moving creek. Rescue workers had to use a raft to get one man who was trapped inside of his car out. It was actually flipped upside down and submerged. And with the military strike on hold for now, in a Newsmax exclusive, Representative Ted Poe, a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, says that's a good thing for the White House because Congress would have overwhelmingly voted down that resolution.
One way or the other, he needs to know that the American Congress does not support a war with Syria. So I say let's go ahead and vote.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for September 12th. I'm John Bachman. Now here is the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
And the civil war in Syria continues, and a lot of questions have been raised about who exactly the rebels are and who the U.S. could be helping with a strike. Our chief foreign correspondent, Richard Engel, with us from overseas tonight with an exclusive look at how al-Qaeda is increasingly in this fight. Richard, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. The U.S. has decided it is not going to intervene in Syria, at least for now, but al-Qaeda is. And every day we see its fighters in this city, in the streets, at the airports, heading into Syria.
Gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That was from the NBC Nightly News last night. Now, first of all, Terry Jones will join us in the second segment of this half hour. So in about 10 minutes or so, Terry Jones will be here, straight from jail, straight to his office, and straight to our show exclusively to tell us about what happened to him yesterday before he could burn the 3,000 or so Qurans that he had intended to burn. But this is very important, and Rick Santorum will be with us at the bottom of the hour to talk about this and to talk about Vladimir Putin giving us all a lecture here in this country with an op-ed that he wrote in the New York Times today, which Bob Menendez, the Democratic senator from New Jersey, chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, said it made him want to vomit. So we'll talk to him about Rick Santorum about that. But back to this. The question all along, one of the questions all along is, why would we fight alongside, as Ted Cruz put it, why would we be al-Qaeda's air force in Syria? Why would we fight on the side of these rebels who are made up of Muslim Brotherhood, made up of al-Qaeda? Yeah, there are some true freedom fighters who really want a democracy in Syria, don't want to kill Christians, don't want to behead and eat the heart of the opposition, literally. But there are many who we would be helping and fighting alongside who do and who are al-Qaeda, and we know it. And this report by Richard Engel on NBC News is not shocking because I know this, but it's eye-opening, and everybody should be made to watch this report to find out that if we take military action, as the president wants us to, if we can't come to an agreement with Russia and Syria, who are we going to be helping? We're going to be helping our enemies, the people who blew up those towers. So here's the next cut from Richard Engel in his report out of Syria, cut 16.
Antakya in southern Turkey, along an ancient trade route. It's now a smuggler's town, where al-Qaeda fighters have crossed into Syria by the thousands.
If Muslims anywhere are oppressed and cannot defend themselves, we have to support them.
Abu Abdurrahman from Tunisia dropped out of college to fight with al-Qaeda in Syria. He agreed to be interviewed only if he could hide his face.
The United States is considering launching military strikes against Syria. Would that help you?
We have a prayer. Oh Allah, please annihilate enemies by other enemies. Bashar is an enemy, and America is an enemy. Let them fight.
Yeah, well, we have a saying too, let the bad guys kill each other. I mean, there's a civil war going on in Syria. Why would we come to the aid of one of the bad guys who has attacked us, who hates us, who has blown up our people, killed our people, when the other bad guy hasn't? I mean, I know Obama has an affinity towards the Brotherhood and helping them, and I don't understand why, although I have my theories. But the thought I mean, the American people has had this choice put before them. We have to be humane. We have to, for the sake of humanity. It's a national security issue, and they've rejected those arguments. Imagine if every American who was polled before they were polled saw this report, where you got an Al Qaeda guy dropping out of college in Turkey or wherever he was to go fight now for Syria on the side of the rebels, saying, well, we hate the United States, but we'll take them. If they want to fight for us and kill our enemy, we'll take our enemy doing that. Why would we do this? Why? It's insanity. And here's cut number 17.
In Turkey for just 24 hours, he showed us his safe house and his war supplies.
The bullet carrier, magazine holders.
A uniform.
And you have no military experience. This will be the first time you'll ever wear anything like a uniform.
He says this is the happiest moment of his life.
You're smiling. I can see even through the mask.
Praise Allah. I am happy.
Why are you so happy?
Because this was a dream for me, to wage jihad, to bleed for Allah and no other.
All right. Now, first of all, understand that Allah Akbar, it would be the same as saying thank God, and jihad is good. That's what John McCain and the left would tell you, right? Jihad is good. And this Allah Akbar stuff, that's just like, hey, thank God. But he wants to bleed. He says it's a dream to wage jihad and bleed for Allah. A college student. A college student. Let's go to cut number 18.
The smuggler who helped Abu Abdurrahman told us he personally has moved 300 foreign fighters from Turkey to Syria in the last 4 months. And in this area now, there are many other smugglers doing exactly the same thing.
Parts of northern Syria already look like an al-Qaeda state, with public executions. A man being whipped for marrying a woman too soon after her divorce. Islamic justice that Abu Abdurrahman is on his way to help enforce. He calls his mother to say goodbye. She tries to talk him out of going, but he refuses and makes his way into Syria. An al-Qaeda fighter joining a rebellion with ambitions beyond toppling Assad.
Yeah, if he's lucky, he'll get to chop off the head of some army soldier, and maybe if he's really lucky, he'll get to cut out the heart and eat it, or the liver. Yeah, you never know. Maybe he'll get to beat some guy, some young kid on the back for violating Islamic law. Yeah, and he's happy. He can't wait to do this. Can't wait. And these are the people that we're going to go fight for and bomb for. You tell me why. You tell me why. And while we're speaking about all this, there's a new poll out on the Palestinians, the peaceful Palestinians, and the Palestinian Authority. Well, it's a Pew Research poll, and it says that it was conducted among 11 different nationalities comprised of large Muslim populations. Unanimity among them in their opposition to suicide bombings, with one exception. One exception. It shows that the Palestinian people support suicide bombings. Let's see right here. One question asked whether suicide bombings could ever be justified. The possible answers: never, rarely, sometimes, often, or don't know. Unlike their Muslim brethren, 62% from the so-called Palestinian territories said suicide bombings were sometimes justifiable. The next largest group was from Lebanon, 33%. So they're almost twice as much as the next group to say that suicide bombings can be justified. The Palestinians, the people we're giving hundreds of millions of dollars to and forcing Israel to make concessions to. It fits with the Obama policy, does it not? Let's go fight for Al-Qaeda and give money to the people who believe in suicide bombings. Sounds like Obama foreign policy to me. 855-777-9660. Welcome to the Obama Nation on the Steve Malzberg Show. Newsmax TV and radio, coming back with Terry Jones.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
My patients still don't know what Obamacare means for them. And how could they? There are already 13,000 pages of regulations, and the bureaucrats are just getting started. Obamacare will change your health care, and you need to understand how. There are hidden taxes and fines, big cuts in Medicare, even new regulations on what services doctors can offer you. Some businesses could get hit with a 40% additional tax on your health care plan. Please, get the Obamacare Survival Guide today. It's the best book explaining the new law. It's easy to read, everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere.
Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of LigNet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard LigNet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is LigNet? LigNet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C. based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting. LigNet's staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Peter Hoekstra, also joined our advisory board staff. Every day, our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LigNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events. There are many. Every day, LigNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on LigNet's assessments. LigNet members receive unrestricted access to LigNet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, previous analyses, and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. LigNet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what LigNet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable LigNet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join LigNet for $1. Go to lignet.com.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. Aww. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. We're unable to reach Terry Jones, but we do have his associate pastor, Wayne Sapp, who was arrested yesterday along with him. And by the way, we do have 36 and 37 we could put up intermittently. You'll see the police approaching the car that Wayne and Terry Jones were in, and then you'll see Dr. Jones being led away in handcuffs if you're watching at Newsmax TV here. Let's say hello to Wayne Sapp. Hey, Wayne, how are you?
Good, Steve. How you doing?
I'm okay. A little disappointed we didn't get Terry, but that's not a knock on you. Tell us exactly what happened. Obviously, you were down in Mulberry, Florida, yesterday, and Dr. Jones had said he was going to burn about 3,000 Qurans, one for each victim of 9/11, and you never got to do that. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, well, I mean, throughout the day, we were under surveillance. They were watching everything that we did.
Who is they? Who is they?
Well, there was a coordinated effort between the FBI, the Polk County Sheriff's Department, just to keep tabs on us. According to everything they've relayed to us, it was for the well-being and the safety of the general public, to make sure that nothing dangerous happened either on our end or by some radical extremists from the outside that wanted to make a name for themselves. So we were basically watched throughout the day, and they had actually talked to Dr. Jones and myself the night before, Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, letting us know that if we did drive onto the public park property with the grill in tow with the Qurans behind us, that we would be arrested for trespassing, and that we would just let the courts work it out later on, but they would not allow us to go through with the event.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, but is this so? You found this out the night before, but was this
Right.
weren't you given permission by the church or the private property owner to do this?
No, this was at a public park, and then they asked us to submit a permit request, which we did simply because they asked us to do it. But quite frankly, it's public property. It's part of our constitutional right to exercise our free speech in a public area, public venue, and the way we were going to conduct the burning was in an enclosed grill. So there was never an open burn or anything that was open for debate or question. But they went through there, which I think we actually had a case there in Dearborn, which they cited that the requests that were being made of us were unconstitutional, and that will probably be coming up a little bit later after we go through this legal battle of the arrest that they made on us yesterday.
All right. Well, tell us how you were arrested. The both of you. You were driving the vehicle. From what I understand, you made a stop. Then they surrounded your car with unmarked cars, and then what? Tell me what happened.
Yeah, we were driving down the highway. I believe that was 37 on our way to the park. We were not going to pull into the park because they told us we'd be arrested for trespassing. So we were going to park in the public access area, the easement right-of-way, grass area, and talk to the media and do the demonstration from there. But before we could get that far, the police pulled us over, and then we were surrounded by I don't know how many unmarked cars. Had to have been at least 10, 12 or more. Where they asked me for my license, and then they wanted our guns from us.
All right, now there's some confusion there because I've heard it reported that you had guns illegally. But when you say they wanted your guns from you, you had a right to carry guns, correct?
Correct. We have both Dr. Jones and myself. We both have concealed weapon permits. We notified them. They asked us, did we have our guns? We said, yes, we do. They asked us how we were carrying. So we were 100% legal, right, to have our guns with us. But they asked us to surrender our guns until they were finished with the traffic stop, which was a little bit bogus. We rented this pull-behind grill from a supplier here in the Florida area, and but then they said there was no lights on the grill or the tow, and then so that's why they pulled us over. But then they said that they could smell the kerosene, or that it was kerosene put onto the books, the Qurans, and they said that was illegal, and we could not transport kerosene in an unauthorized container.
All right. Were you aware of that? Have you ever heard of that?
No, we were not aware of it. We'd never heard of it. A lot of the law enforcement we talked to since then said they'd never heard of it.
So what were you arrested for? Illegally transporting kerosene?
Correct.
Okay, that's what you were arrested for. You went to jail. How long were you in jail?
We bonded out this morning.
So you were in jail overnight?
Correct.
Wow. And was there bail set for you? Were you arraigned? How'd you get out?
Bail was set last night, $1,250 per person. So we bonded out, and so we will pursue our cause and our case from here on out.
Do you have legal representation yet?
We're seeking out legal representation. We've talked to our constitutional lawyers that have dealt with us in the past, the Thomas More Law
Right.
Center,
Yeah, they're good people.
and very good people, and they said they would be more than happy to look at our case from a constitutional battle after these, I guess, the criminal charges. We've been able to get past those.
Well, let me ask you this.
So,
Why was Terry Jones arrested? He was a passenger in the car that you were driving. I mean, as far as I know, I could be wrong, but as a layman, if I'm driving with somebody and they get arrested for drunk driving, I'm not under arrest. Well, you got arrested for lugging the kerosene. What did he do?
Well, they said that while he was either getting in or getting out of the vehicle, they could see his weapon. They could see his firearm on his side.
So you mean it's okay if it's completely concealed, but if it's exposed, that's a violation?
That's a violation. Even though he was getting in or out of the vehicle, they said that because they could see it, they were writing him up and they arrested him under a misdemeanor charge of his concealed weapon was.
All right, so you usually don't go to jail for a misdemeanor, right?
I actually don't know the law, Steve.
Okay, no, neither do I. All right, we got about a minute. So let me ask you: do you feel that they were just, dead set against? They made sure they were going to prevent you from doing this, come hell or high water?
Yeah, hell or high water. They made a decision. This event was not going to take place.
Now, did the FBI in fact previously tell you they were going to protect you?
They did not say they were going to protect us. They said they were watching to make sure that no one got hurt on either side.
Okay. All right. Listen, keep us informed here and let us know. Do you plan on burning them? Does he plan on burning them at another time? Maybe before next 9/11, an unannounced time, somewhere by surprise? Do you plan on doing that?
Well, I definitely know we plan on doing something. So we will definitely keep you in touch, Steve. And we appreciate the time that you give us to get the voice out.
All right. I thank you for your time. Thank you very much. That's Wayne Sapp, the assistant pastor with Terry Jones. They were both arrested yesterday. Crazy stuff. They have a First Amendment right, agree or disagree. And they looked for anything to lock them up on, and they came up with two things to lock them up on, kept them in jail overnight. Now they're out. When we come back, Rick Santorum will talk about Vladimir Putin's op-ed piece in the Times and more on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes, or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction to alcohol or drugs, then you must listen to this message because there is hope. No matter what addiction you or your loved one is coping with, you are just one phone call away from real help. Recovery Hotline makes the healing process simple and affordable by matching people to fully certified and experienced inpatient facilities that are right for their personal situations. Call 800-668-1286 now. Don't wait another day. Money does not have to be an issue. Most insurance is accepted. Just call 800-668-1286 today. Recovery Hotline's mission is to help you or someone you love begin the healing process and get back a healthy and sober life. And we can even help with family interventions and travel arrangements. One phone call is all it takes to get back the life you or your loved one deserves. The call is free. The help is real. Call 800-668-1286. That's 800-668-1286. 800-668-1286. Again, 800-668-1286.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy. Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
I almost wanted to vomit. Reality is, I worry when someone who came up to the KGB tells us what is in our national interest and what is not.
All right, that's Bob Menendez, folks, the chairman of the, I believe the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, senator from New Jersey, Democrat, of course, and reacting to Vladimir Putin and his op-ed piece in the New York Times today. I can't even believe that I'm saying that Vladimir Putin wrote an op-ed piece in the New York Times, and he said when he read it, Bob Menendez said he made him want to vomit. Because, among other things, Putin told America, basically scolding America, saying that believing that America is exceptional, or that there's America exceptionalism, it's a very dangerous thing. Joining us now to talk about that and many other issues is our friend, former presidential candidate, and I'm sure future, and also former senator from the state of Pennsylvania, Rick Santorum. Hello, Rick.
Hello, and a believer in American exceptionalism, by the way.
Yeah, well, you know, he's got a friend in Obama because if my memory serves me.
He doesn't believe it. Yeah, well, that's right. You know, we're not. You know, he believed in it. I think the quote was.
Everybody thinks they're exceptional. Yeah,
I believe in American exceptionalism, like the British believe they're exceptional, and the Greeks they believe they're exceptional.
Right.
So go look it up. I mean, so he doesn't believe in American exceptionalism. Then I guess now, when you're president and you're reeling and you have foreign policy failures, you go and hide behind American exceptionalism in your speeches, and that offended Putin. I think it offended a lot of Americans when you have a president who's acting like America is not exceptional and leading not leading at all, and having Vladimir Putin being exalted on the world stage as a peacemaker because of the folly of this president.
You know, I got to tell you, Rick, I mean, I think it was Joe Scarborough, who we played a bite earlier, called this Mr. Magoo foreign policy. You know what? I don't think we have any business in Syria, and I want to hear what you have to say. None whatsoever. I don't want to bomb for al-Qaeda. But you know what? It would have been better off. I would have blasted him, but it would have been better off if the president had come to the American public and said, 3 hours ago, I launched missile strikes targeted, and it would have been done. This is insanity.
For the president in a speech to make the case, appeal to that little children are being killed, and that we have to act to protect ourselves and to protect the future of against the use of chemical and weapons of mass destruction, and then in the next sentence say, but we're not going to act. And I'm telling the Congress not to act. And if we're successful in this negotiation, we'll never act. Okay. Your head spins as to what possibly the world community is looking at this president who clearly drew a line in the sand, and because the president all his life has thought that when he says something, people just do it, that if he said, well, I'm drawing a line in the sand that Assad or no one else would cross it, he never considered the consequences that if someone did, he would actually have to do something, and something he doesn't want to do. He clearly doesn't want to do, and now he has found Vladimir Putin as his savior not to have to strike Syria.
Well, what's your feeling on striking Syria in the first place? I mean, are you for that, or at this point?
No. Well, I'm not for it for a variety of different reasons. One of which you just stated, which is, look, I was someone who was very much for getting involved in Syria. I go back and look at
early on, I remember that.
Debate. We during the presidential campaign, I actually gave a long discourse during one of the debates, talking about how the president should have the nerve to step forward and support pro-democracy rebels within Syria. That Assad is a puppet state of Iran. They are a danger to Israel, and we have every obligation to go and support the pro-democracy movement, saddle up to them, support them, give them up weapons, and the support they need to be successful. That's what I said 2 years ago. What I'm saying now is, since we did not do that, what we have is a situation where the pro-democracy rebels are an insignificant part of the rebel movement, and the ones who are leading that movement are in fact Al Qaeda. And we don't have an interest in a fight between Al Qaeda and Hezbollah and Iran. And so that's sort of where I come down right now. Is number one, that we don't have a dog in this fight. Number two, the last thing I'm going to do if I'm a senator or congressman is give this president the power to use military force, which could expand the scope and scale of this conflict. This president can't handle the conflict as it is. Bringing in whether it's Iran or whether it's Russia or whether it's Turkey, whoever else might get involved, would further complicate that to the point where real American national security could be in danger by acting.
Well, I want to play you a soundbite, and I haven't heard anybody else talk about this. It was his interview that he did on the other day, Monday or whenever, when he sat down and did 5 interviews. This was with PBS Gwen Eiffel, and she said, "Can Syria retaliate against us or our allies if we strike them?" And here's what he said in cut number 10. Give a listen.
His allies do, though. Iran, Hezbollah. They could carry out asymmetrical attacks against our embassies, for example, in the region. But we don't actually think that they want to do something like that. Keep in mind that Iran was the country probably last subjected to large-scale chemical weapons used by Saddam Hussein. So there's a real aversion to chemical weapons inside of Iran. I don't think either Iran or Hezbollah thought that what Assad did was a good idea. And for us to take a limited, proportional, although significant strike on Assad's capabilities to degrade them, I don't think would prompt them to get involved.
So the good people of Hezbollah and the good people of Iran, the Ayatollahs, they don't like what Assad did, and they were victimized once themselves, so we don't think they're going to do anything. What am I hearing?
Assad does nothing unless Iran okays it. So the idea that Assad is this bad actor and Iran is a state that we can trust and doesn't want to see the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, Mr. President, they're developing nuclear weapons and you're doing nothing to stop them. This is again a president who just doesn't understand the nature of the enemy, doesn't understand how dangerous this world is, and he is fecklessly, sleepwalking through this incredibly important crisis and endangering American security by doing so.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I was just taken I never heard a more naive, if he's being honest, I can't believe the naivete of this man. I just cannot fathom it. Hezbollah, I mean, he's counting on the goodness of Hezbollah, the morality of Hezbollah?
But remember, he went to Cairo in his first speech and says, we don't have a problem with you guys. We accept you guys. Remember, he accepted the Muslim Brotherhood as the leader of the intellectual and ideological and theological basis for Al Qaeda comes from the Muslim Brotherhood, and he accepted them as the leader of Egypt. And in fact, when they were deposed, he said that they should be put back, even though they were trying to eliminate their courts. They were trying to remove their constitution. The president was all for them. He doesn't have a problem with radical Islam. That's the problem. He doesn't see them as radical. He doesn't see them as a threat. And as you know, I mean, you've talked about this on your show. I know. I mean, he sanitized everything having to do with Islam or radical Islam from every intel and defense document. We have a shooter from Fort Hood who yells Allah Akbar and shoots people, and that's not an Islamic terrorist event. This is the problem with this president. He is either delusional or he simply chooses to ignore the great threat that radical Islam is.
And we're talking to the great former Senator Rick Santorum here on the Steve Malzberg Show, and you know that I'm sure you're aware of what John McCain told Brian Kilmeade on Fox and Friends. You know that shouting Allah Akbar is the same as a Christian saying thank God. You know that, right?
Yeah, of course.
That's what McCain said to Kilmeade when Kilmeade showed him a tape of the rebels shooting down a Syrian plane, apparently, and shouting, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. And Brian says, I have a problem supporting those people shouting Allah Akbar. And he says, Brian, would you have a problem supporting Christians who shout out thank God? Because it's the same exact thing.
Oh.
I know. We're losing it.
There in a nutshell, shows you why 2008 election turned out the way it did.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, what about where are we with 2016 for Rick Santorum?
Well, obviously, the more you see the incompetence of this administration, and the more I see a completely disjointed Republican response. You listen to John McCain, you listen to John Boehner and Eric Cantor and the Senate leadership. It's stunning. In the obviously these folks are not prepared to deal with the serious nature of the threats that we're facing, and to go along with this president and to give him more authority as most of the Republican leaders have. Is another sign that the Republican leadership is completely out of touch with what the serious problems are facing this country.
Which means, in answer to my question?
Which means we have to have somebody out there to make sure that common sense and the values that made this country great are being reflected. So I'm going to be out there making sure that happens. Whether I'm a candidate or not, we'll make that decision down the road.
All right. Now, one other thing here. What do you think is going to happen with this health care? I mean, yesterday the AFL-CIO said this stinks. We can't deal with this. And now, of course, the administration is going to try to bend over backwards to accommodate the unions.
Of course. Look, remember, the law with respect to Obamacare, it's President Obama's law, and he can enforce it any way he wants. That's the way it works. Since he passed and it's his, he can take things and say, well, you have to do A, and say, well, no, you it says you do, but if you don't, we're not going to.
But he does that with other laws that he did too.
Of course. I have the power to do whatever I want to do. Unless I don't want to do it, then I have to ask Congress to bail me out.
Yeah. Well, do the Republicans have any hope of standing up and making sure this doesn't happen, or delaying it for a year? Do you have any hope of that happening?
That's my hope. My hope is that they can delay the individual mandate for you. Look, they have to do something the President of the United States said that we were going to delay the business mandate. Well, why? Because of the impact on the economy and that they're not ready. Well, they're not ready for the individual mandate either. And the impact on the economy, again, more and more info coming out how soft the economy is. Let's delay it for a year, and maybe there's enough Democrats. This may be one there's enough Democrats who don't want to feel the heat in 2014 may go along with that delay.
Right, because there's a lot of senators up for re-election then. All right, Rick, how's your daughter doing?
She's doing great. Thanks for asking.
Good. No, it's always,
a little rough patch, but she's doing great right now.
She captured all of our hearts, and so did you in dealing with that situation back then. All right, look, I look forward to our next conversation. Thank you, sir.
All right. Yeah, take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Rick Santorum, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Very interesting. The president shouldn't have hit. Charlie Hurt's column says Syria war is a joke, but we're not laughing. It's insanity. I've never seen anything like this in all my life. All right, I want to hear from you. I know we got Tony. Well, let's go to Tony right now. And anybody else want to weigh in? 855-777-9660. 855-777-9660. Let's go to Tony in Marion, Como, Indiana? No, am I getting that right?
It's in Marion, Indiana.
Okay, thanks, Tony. Appreciate it. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, Mr. Malzberg, I think maybe...
Hey, Tony, you got to call me Steve, because if you call me Mr. Malzberg, I got to call you Mr. Tony, and I don't want to do that.
Okay, Steve. I think maybe the problem is that the Muslim faith was the faith of his childhood. You know, as a Christian, I can remember sitting in Sunday school, singing the songs, and hearing the Bible stories, and maybe he has a hard time with the fact that there are people out there that have perverted the religion and are using it for these other reasons.
Well, I don't, I don't know what the problem is. I mean, when he gave the speech that Rick was referring to, and it's ironic because I was just reading through that speech about an hour ago. It was 10 pages when I printed it out that he gave at the Cairo University in Egypt, his first trip overseas as president in his first term. And, he said so many things in there, but he has a Muslim background, like you said, his father and the whole thing, Indonesia, the whole thing. He alludes to that in that speech. But I don't know what makes him, as Rick said, not only ignore who the Muslim Brotherhood are, but after he sees them in action in Egypt and they get thrown the heck out for what they did, he then insists that they get put back. I mean, I don't know what motivates that.
I hope he's not that naive. And then on the back door to that, I also think, I hope that it's not some kind of ulterior motive that's not for the best interest of all of us.
Well, how more naive could he be as that cut that I played where he doesn't think Iran or Hezbollah really likes what Assad did, and he doesn't think they'll do anything to retaliate against us or our allies. I mean, are you kidding me?
I'm a veteran. I was over there in '91. I think those people, from just a little bit that I saw, I think they're capable of doing anything to anyone at any time.
You're talking about Hezbollah and Iran and all that, yeah.
All of it, yeah. I just think that if people need killing, they have no problem killing, and that's no matter what they have to do it, they'll do it.
Tony, God bless you for your service. Thank you for calling.
You too.
Take care. That's Tony from Indiana. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to continue after the break with the phones? We will do that. At 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. Is the president fecklessly sleepwalking through this whole Syrian crisis? Here on the Steve Malzberg Show, News, Max TV, and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Heart disease is the biggest killer disease in America, and this doesn't surprise me. We are addicted to starches, sugars, fatty meats, and salt. People who live in countries with little heart disease eat very differently. One way some people stay heart healthy is by following what is known as the caveman or Stonehenge diet, so named because of its similarity to the way our prehistoric ancestors ate. People who follow this type of diet live off local fruits and root vegetables and get their protein mostly from fish and wild game they shoot themselves. Now, since most of us don't hunt or fish for all our protein, here are some simple tips on how you can start to eat like a caveman, modern day style. First, fill up on fruits and vegetables. Eat them first and you'll be less hungry. Feast on fish, which is rich in nutrients, but not in calories. Choose fatty fish like mackerel, herring, sardines, and salmon, which are rich in heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Get out and go for a walk. Remember, our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, so they didn't spend their time sitting in front of a TV or computer all day. If you live more like a caveman or a cave woman, your heart will love you for it. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thank you for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
Judging from everything you hear, you think all cholesterol is bad, but that's not really true. You need a certain amount of cholesterol to maintain good health. The problem is that too much cholesterol in your blood contributes to a plaque, a fatty substance that narrows the coronary arteries that feed blood flow to your heart. Picture your coronary arteries as a 4-lane highway. If one lane becomes blocked, traffic still flows well. 2 lanes, no major problem. But if a 3rd lane becomes blocked, that spells trouble. It's the same way with your coronary arteries. And when plaque slows their blood flow to your heart, this can even cause a heart attack. The good news is that when it comes to cholesterol, lifestyle changes can pay off big time. Even a small reduction in plaque can be like opening up another highway lane. Suddenly, blood flow that was stalled can go forward again. Changing your lifestyle does not have to be hard. And in fact, here are 3 ways to help you start lowering your cholesterol. Snack on nuts. Nuts are probably one of the easiest and tastiest ways to lower cholesterol. Walnuts and almonds are among the best. Bulk up your diet with fiber. Choose whole fruits instead of a fruit juice, brown rice instead of white, and if you're eating a baked potato, be sure to leave the skin on. Choose fish. Fish contains cholesterol-fighting omega-3 fatty acids. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
Hey, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Let's continue with the phone calls. Coming up in the next hour, we'll be joined by Charlie Hurt of the Washington Times. I had to think for a sec. And then we'll have Benefesh Zand, who was an Iranian writer and filmmaker. We've had her before. She's an expert on the situation in that area of the world, Syria, Iran, and all that. So we'll talk to her about her take on it. But right now, back to the phones, 855-777-9660. We go down to Miami and say hello to Frank. Frank, you listening on 850?
Yes, I am, Steve.
Good.
Hey, first of all, I wanted to say, I voted for Obama, and his first term, he was a doer, especially like I was telling your assistant with the Osama bin Laden thing. Within 72 hours when they found out where he was, do it, get it done. He's become a slacker. It's like he's a waiter waiting around. Why are we waiting for him to do more, to bomb more with chemical weapons and gas weapons? Come on, we got to do something about this. That's what makes this country great. We're a doer. We're not a waiter.
All right. Well, first of all, all he did in his first term was Obamacare. That's all he did.
But I mean, but I'm also talking on May 25th, May 26th, 2010. We did Osama bin Laden. Once they find out where it was, do it.
All right, but what is Osama bin Laden and taking action with him, which we had to do, although he.
Isn't America
wait, let me finish.
Days?
How is it in America's interest to go into Syria?
Well, like you said before, if he said, okay, 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago, yesterday at midnight, we bombed all the sites where they're launching these chemical weapons.
Yes.
I would have been like, okay, great, we're doing something. They're just waiting.
Well, I would have been ticked off as heck. But now that I've seen the other option, it would have been by far the best option because this makes us look like a bunch of fools.
Don't you feel like right now? I feel like we're in jeopardy. Da, na, 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 na. Waiting for what?
Well, not
well.
What
you're gonna do.
Well, there's nothing he could do now. I mean, he
I know nothing now. It's like showing up the day after a race. Oh, I'm gonna show up and run the marathon today. No one's there, and you got to fight traffic and stuff.
Well, and it's been said, and we were talking about this in the newsroom a minute ago, and I think it goes much deeper than this, but I'll ask you this question. Do you feel that he is totally uncomfortable being commander-in-chief? Totally uncomfortable?
I don't know. I just feel like he's slacking. He's not, like in this, like I said before, he was a doer in his first term. He was trying to do everything. Now it's like he's trying not to do anything.
All right.
He just making speeches left and right, but not doing a thing about it.
All right, listen, I appreciate it, Frank. Spread the word around Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and all that to the listening audience down there, okay?
Tell them to listen to you more in the show, 850.
You got it. See, I didn't even have to tell you what to say. Thank you, Frank. You too. Have a good day. Look, I wouldn't, like I said to Frank, I wouldn't necessarily call Barack Obama a doer in his first term. For 2 years, understand this. The first 2 years of his term, he had a Democratic Senate, a Democratic House. And what did he do? Obamacare. Without one single Republican vote. Obamacare, and that's it. And what's he done since? His campaign speeches from the first time were the same as in the second go-round. Because he only made things worse. Anyway. We're not here to talk about Obama. We're here to talk about the sky is blue, the grass is green. Right? Right. That's what makes the Steve Malzberg Show the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If your prostate is giving you problems and your doc says it's just part of getting older, be wary. Renowned physician and author Dr. David Brownstein thinks this is baloney. He's discovered a link between aging and prostate health and believes prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. That's why he created Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Brownstein. I personally formulated Prostate Revive to include the most essential natural ingredients available to help promote a healthy prostate gland and optimal urinary function.
The producers of Dr. Brownstein's Prostate Revive are so thrilled with the positive feedback from satisfied customers that for a limited time, they are willing to send you your first month's supply free. Plus, call now and you'll also receive Dr. Brownstein's special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. For details on getting your free bottle, call 1-800-596-REVIVE. That's 1-800-596-REVIVE. Take control with Prostate Revive. Call now while supplies last to claim your risk-free bottle at 1-800-596-REVIVE.
Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates or low minimum payments, and before you know it, you owe thousands of dollars in credit card debt. It has happened to millions of good people just like you. But here's the good news. Thanks to a powerful program now approved, anyone with $2,000 or more in credit card debt can cut their credit card payments up to half and even reduce or eliminate interest charges altogether. That's right. Our nationwide nonprofit program is helping U.S. residents cut their credit card payments. Call 800-613-3159 now. The call and information are free. We've helped over 500,000 people with their credit card debt, and now we can help you. Call 800-613-3159 to see how this powerful nonprofit program can work for you. Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Get free of credit card debt today. Call 800-613-3159. That's 800-613-3159. Again, 800-613-3159.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Russian President Vladimir Putin is reaching out to the American people in a New York Times editorial. Putin urged America to use caution with Syria. He says a strike there will result in more innocent people dying and will cause the violence to spread throughout the Middle East. He then referenced President Obama's speech to the nation Tuesday night, where the president said American principles are what makes us different and exceptional. Putin disagreed, saying all humans are created by God as equal. Meanwhile, Bashar Assad says the decision to turn over its weapons was based solely on the offer from Russia and had nothing to do with the U.S. military threat. Meanwhile, U.S. lawmakers say they are willing to give this diplomatic option a chance, but Arizona Republican Senator John McCain has questions about President Putin and his motives.
Why did Putin say that we have to renounce the use of force, which is impossible? Why is it the Russians announced today they may sell missiles to Syria?
And now Syria is saying it will hand over its weapons only if the U.S. stops arming rebels there. So a lot of moving parts in play. Meanwhile, that political settlement Putin is calling for could still be in the works. Secretary of State John Kerry has been meeting with his Russian counterpart in Switzerland today. If the Russian plan is real, it could be a way to avoid a U.S. military strike. Kerry is now testing if Moscow is putting forward a credible and verifiable plan to locate and destroy all of Syria's chemical weapons.
We're not naive about the challenges. We don't think this will be easy, but that's why we're going to Geneva.
We now are expecting 2 days of very technical and very intense talks between 30 arms control experts and diplomats from the U.S. side and a large Russian delegation. There has not been a lot of trust between the U.S. and Russia right now, and Secretary Kerry wants his counterpart, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, to offer up 1,000 tons of chemical weapons the U.S. believes Syria has. In the meantime, while the diplomacy happens, the fighting still rages on in Syria. And in Louisiana, on the anniversary of 9/11, someone vandalized a memorial honoring first responders and victims of the terrorist attacks. Police found 2 cardboard planes attached to steel beams that were pulled from the Ground Zero location and moved to the city of Lafayette. On each plane, the initials WNWO appeared, referencing the New World Order conspiracy theory. That theory includes the belief that the 9/11 attacks were carried out by the United States government. Police did make 1 arrest as a result of that vandalism. And coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, deadly floods hit Colorado. A look at the amazing rescue efforts to save people trapped in their cars there. Plus, a Newsmax exclusive with Congressman Ted Poe on what would have to happen if Congress did vote on a military strike on Syria.
Obama wants your money, and he's determined to get it. He wants your money to buy off unions, his Wall Street cronies, and to expand the Obama welfare nation. Well, Swiss America is determined to stop him from stealing your money. They want to send you an award-winning film, I Want Your Money, on DVD that exposes his plan. It'll help keep the government's hands off your money using gold, silver, and other hard asset strategies to protect your hard-earned money. Call today and request the DVD, I Want Your Money, normally $19.95, yours absolutely free. Let Swiss America show you how to use gold, silver, and other hard assets to protect your hard-earned money. Call now. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. Call Swiss America right now. Learn all about investing in gold. 800-978-3907. That's 800-978-3907. Call right now.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Welcome back. Roads are washed out, homes are flooded, and neighborhoods are being evacuated after a half a foot of rain fell in Colorado overnight. At least 2 people were killed. 3 drivers near Boulder had to be rescued from their trucks and cars after floodwaters washed out the roads there. Their vehicles plunged into a fast-moving creek. Rescue workers had to use a raft to get one man who was trapped inside of his car out. It was actually flipped upside down and submerged. And with the military strike on hold for now, in a Newsmax exclusive, Representative Ted Poe, a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, says that's a good thing for the White House because Congress would have overwhelmingly voted down that resolution.
One way or the other, he needs to know that the American Congress does not support a war with Syria. So I say let's go ahead and vote.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for September 12th. I'm John Bachman. Now here is the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
It's Mr. Magoo's foreign policy. This guy's stumbling through history, and he couldn't be doing it at a worse time. The Washington Post, even in the last hour, the Washington Post posted their editorial board said that Obama enters this speech tonight in a deep political hole of his own digging. His foreign policy has been stumbling, improvised, and incoherent. I think that's putting it politely.
Joe Scarborough the other night doing a radio interview and Mr. Magoo's foreign policy. We just had Rick Santorum on, and he said that Obama is fecklessly sleepwalking through this whole Syria deal. And our next guest, our friend Charles Hurt, a columnist for the Washington Times, wrote a great column today, which was headline, Syria War is a Joke, but we're not laughing. Hello, Charles.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
Good to talk to you. So, here's what I said all along. I don't want us to be in Syria. We have no business in Syria. But at this point, knowing what we know now and seeing where we are now, it would have been better if he would have taken to the microphone one day and said, 3 hours ago, I launched cruise missile attack, blah, 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 blah. It would have been done. He would have sent his message. I would have, railed on it on the air. But what's going on now is a disgrace.
It's almost like what you're talking about, which, of course, you're exactly right, and that would have been the only sane thing to do if your mission really was to send a message and take out chemical weapons, because that was the only moment at which time we might have known where they were before he began scurrying around to hide them.
Right.
And all of it, and the fact that he didn't do that really makes me start to wonder, and I feel like I'm a pretty questioning journalist, but I'm not cynical enough to actually believe that this is all politics. But when you lay it all out and you lay out what his possible motives may have been, it seems more and more likely that the only objective here has been to make politics out of this. And I hate to say that because I think I cannot think of a more treasonous accusation to make against a president. But I mean, honestly, what is the purpose here? And in fact, in terms of Assad, we came into this with the idea that that President Obama wanted to punish Assad. But what he has wound up doing in the course of 5 days was ensuring that no matter what, he will stay in power.
He will stay in power, and he will keep his chemical weapons because, like you said, at least we thought we knew where they were before all this started, before all these this game that's being played. But now now our friends, the Al Qaeda rebels, tell us that he's moved them to Iraq. I've heard he's moved them to Iran. Who knows where he's moved them? But of course he's moved them. I mean, this whole thing is sick. And now Syria. Now, since Syria again today said we want to sign on to the treaty against the ban on chemical weapons, and now Russia. I mean, now how could we say no and we don't trust you and then bomb them anyway? We can't do anything now.
This has been a great PR boon, by the way, for Assad. I mean, this whole week has just been, now he looks like some sort of statesman in Syria. And now that we're actually negotiating with his government and we send our people in there to go, or the UN people in there to like collect these chemical weapons or to inspect them or anything like that, and people start shooting at them, are we not going to shoot back? You better believe we're going to shoot back. We're not going to have our scientists come under fire. So he in the name of security now, we will be working to prop up the Assad regime. And I mean, Assad has been trying to do this for 4 or 5 years now that he's been having seething problems in his country, and he hadn't been able to bring closure to that. But President Obama, in an effort to attack him, has managed to throw him that life ring.
What did you think, Charles, of that speech the other night? It's funny. CNN brought on, I believe, Elijah Cummings, and they had him sitting there as a Democrat who is not convinced and is leaning towards not voting no. Let's see how he reacts after the speech. Gee, I can't tell how he's going to react after the speech. Wolf, this was I'm still not convinced, but he said everything I wanted to hear. Gee, what a surprise. But that aside, the media, like Scarborough and the Washington Post, and and a whole list of people have been critical of Obama, Tavis Smiley, for different reasons. But I'm just scared to death. I'm not even worried about how he's perceived, by the media or if the public I'm just scared to death how he's now perceived by our enemies. Everything they thought about him is not only confirmed, but it's even worse than that. And we are we have no respect, no one fears us, and we have a man who is obviously uncomfortable, at the very least, of being commander-in-chief.
Yeah, I mean, that was the most bizarre presidential address I've ever watched. And then to have him at one point, I don't remember the exact line, but there was at one point where he launched into, kind of blaming the war weariness on 12 years of unnecessary wars.
Right.
He is so messed up the situation and embarrassed himself, and then he goes out there and then he's still blaming his predecessor, a term and a half, nearly a term and a half into his administration. But it is scary, and I mean. And you're exactly right. In terms of these our new allies in Syria, these upstanding rebels, who I saw a horrific series of photos today where
they beheaded a guy. And
they're performing an execution of a fellow Syrian, and these people, we can't wish them away. They do exist, and they only respond to one thing, and it's not being nice to them.
No.
They respond to knowing that if you mess with the United States of America, you are going to have a drone come in and it is going to take out your entire family. And they understand that. And that performance the other night by the president was certainly the most undermining expression of American firepower.
Well, I want you to hear something here as I feverishly try to find. Okay, this is going to be cut 10 again, Will. Now, here's like what you just said, if you mess with America. Here's what the president should have said in answer to this question that Gwen Eiffel at PBS asked him. She said, can Syria retaliate, against our allies or our interests if we hit them? And what he should have said was, his first part was no, Syria can't, but Iran can and Hezbollah can. I'm going to let you hear what he said. But first I'll tell you what he should have said. If they dare to retaliate, they will feel the wrath of the U.S. military like no one has ever felt it before. But instead, listen to what he said in answer to this question. I just played it for Santorum. He obviously never heard it before because I think I'm the only one who picked up on this. And he couldn't believe what he heard. Let's play it.
His allies do, though, Iran, Hezbollah. they could carry out asymmetrical attacks against our embassies, for example, in the region. But we don't actually think that they want to do something like that. Keep in mind that Iran was the country probably last subjected to large-scale chemical weapons used by Saddam Hussein. So there's a real aversion to chemical weapons inside of Iran. I don't think either Iran or Hezbollah thought that what Assad did was a good idea. And for us to take a limited, proportional, although significant strike on Assad's capabilities to degrade them, I don't think would prompt them to get involved.
So Iran, they don't really like Assad. You see, even though they give him everything and he's their puppet, and they don't really like chemical weapons. And Hezbollah, they don't really like what Assad did because they're really moral, upstanding people, and we don't think they're going to do anything. Can you imagine this?
It's so amazing. And it sounds like what he's saying. Maybe he's confused about the Iranian people and with the government. And sure, there are a lot of westernized Iranians, civilians.
Yeah, but what about Hezbollah?
yeah, exactly. But he actually thinks that Hezbollah and the Iranian government,
the Ayatollahs,
they have a problem with chemical gassing. I saw a poll that said I think something like 60% of Palestinian Muslims.
We did this, support suicide bombings. Yep. And the next greatest people, I think, was Lebanon, and that was 33%. So the Palestinians, that's a whole other issue. Who we're forcing Israel to make concessions to. We're giving all kinds of money to. They're giving the money to prisoners who Israel let out of prison, and 65% of them say, yeah, suicide bombings are okay.
Another thing about all this that it just blows my mind with President Obama is, his whole, the case against Assad, and I'm not, the guy's an evil warlord as far as I'm concerned, but the case against him on the chemical weapons use is anything but a slam dunk. That there are all sorts of reasons why any one of these many groups out there that form the Syrian rebels could have used it and could have done it as a political ploy. Their case, if they have better information, they haven't shared it. But one thing that is not in dispute is that Saddam Hussein used chemical weapons in war and against his own people.
Right.
And it was and that was the reason. That was the weapons of mass destruction was the reason we went to war in Iraq. And the only reason President Obama is president today is because he opposed a war against Saddam Hussein. And now he's just bloodlust for going to war against this guy. He's a pretzel. He has a rubber spine. It makes no sense. He's utterly feckless.
Yeah, no, absolutely true. Absolutely true. Yeah, fecklessly sleepwalking is what Santorum said also. My friend, great to talk to you as always. We'll do it again next week.
Great, Steve.
Thank you. Take care. Charles Hurt, ladies and gentlemen, Washington Times. Mind-boggling. I got some people want to weigh in. We got Lisa, and we got someone else whose name I can't make out. But we will get to you when we come back. Anybody else want to weigh in on this insanity? Scary stuff, though. If it was a comic skit, it would be pretty funny. But it's not. It's our security, not Syria. Just everything that will be forthcoming from this screw-up is scary. Okay, 855-777-9660, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare's Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already a #1 Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today by going to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
3 a.m. and you're up again for the third time. It's not just affecting your sleep, it's interrupting your daily life. Frequent trips to the bathroom due to an aging prostate is a common concern, but you can now do something about it with Prostate Revive. Doctor-formulated Prostate Revive is an all-natural dietary supplement packed with 15 powerful ingredients, focused on improving prostate health by targeting the two main sources of prostate concerns, rogue testosterone and inflammation. And now, in this limited time radio offer, you can try Prostate Revive absolutely free. That's a free bottle, a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, risk-free. Plus, if you call right now, you'll also receive our free report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. Call now for details on getting your free bottle, plus our doctor's report. Call 1-800-659-REVIVE. That's 1-800-659-REVIVE. Don't be a victim of an aging prostate. Start getting the sleep you need and get your life back with Prostate Revive. Claim your risk-free bottle now at 1-800-659-REVIVE.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Sure, Steve might be a bit of a hypochondriac, but he never gets sick of breaking news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call Steve at 1-855-777-9660. That's 1-855-777-9660. Here's Steve.
Yes, indeed. Here's Steve. That's absolutely positively correct. Steve Malzberg Show, folks. 855-777-9660. Let's go first to Lisa in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I would bet she's listening on our great affiliate WFTL 850. Hello, Lisa.
My call, great show.
Thank you.
Awesome show. I'd just like to get back to that caller prior to your interview with the Washington Times about Obama being a doer in his first term.
Yes.
I find that hard. A doer of what? Shoving the worst, costly, botched bill down the Americans' throat that is actually crippling the middle class and making our economy into a part-time economy and catching Osama bin Laden. I mean, how much money did the American people put into catching? How many years and taxpayer money went into catching that cockroach? I mean,
Well, Lisa, I don't have a problem with spending whatever it would have taken to get Osama bin Laden. I just wish that that we would have seen him. I wish the pictures would have been made public. I wish they wouldn't have given him that proper Muslim burial. I wish they would have buried him with pigs. To be honest with you, that's what he deserved. If he believed that pigs that would make him not go to heaven or whatever, then I think that's what they should have done. But I think they treated him too well after they killed him. But politically speaking and policy-wise, like I said and like you say, he did nothing. He did Obamacare. He could have tackled so many issues, even from the left. I would have disagreed, but he could have gone after immigration. Everything he's talked about for 4 years now, 7 years, whatever, 5 years, 6 years, he could have done in those first 2 years. He did nothing.
Correct. And as everybody, I guess my cousin said it the best. As we go to work now,
I love your cousin. Lisa, I love your cousin. No, I don't know. I don't know your cousin.
He calls it the ride to survive now. And is that the American dream, people? As your gas is $4 a gallon and you can't afford to go to the grocery stores anymore. I mean,
Lisa, not only that, fewer and fewer people are working. The ones who are working part-time, or they're taking lesser jobs.
Your health care, but my health care now has risen to $25. My deductible now is $2,500 per person per household for a year.
Yeah, we are a country in bad shape. Lisa, thank you. Spread the word, please.
I sure will. Thank you for your show, and thank you for taking my call.
It's my pleasure. You too. Domingo is calling from, I'm not sure where. Where's that, Domingo?
Steve.
Where?
Yes, sir. I'm in Lake Okeechobee, Florida.
Oh, great. Okay. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir. The reason I'm calling is that pastor that wants to burn all those Korans.
Terry Jones, yes.
Yes, sir. I don't really care about upsetting the radical Muslims. I would burn them myself. But all he's going to do, he's going to put a target on every one of our servicemen overseas. I know that they would want to kill us anyway, but I think he's putting our servicemen at risk by doing this. By doing this, I don't know. Like I said, I don't care it myself. If I would like to do it myself, but I don't think it'd be a smart move.
Well, Domingo, here's the thing. I don't believe that if Terry Jones burns Korans and there's violence that ensues, that you blame Terry Jones. I believe you blame those who would commit the violence. Like you said, they hate us anyway. They don't need an excuse. And what if, let's say we elect Hillary Clinton president, and they start killing our troops, saying, how dare you have a woman? That's against the Quran. You have a woman as president. Then what would you say? We shouldn't have a woman president? I mean, where would you draw the line so as not to inflame the radical Islamic fundamentalists who would see a cartoon and start killing people? I mean, where do you draw the line?
I understand what you're saying. Believe me, I felt the same way you did until I talked to a serviceman, a man that spent time in the military, and I saw his point of view. But I do understand what you're saying.
And I understand your point of view. I certainly don't want to do anything that would make it harder for our men and women overseas. But, denying him the right of free speech to placate those people over there who would react violently, I don't buy into that either. But, hey, Domingo, call me again. Spread the word about the show, please, and thank you very much. All right, this is it, baby. Give and take, talk radio, Steve Malzberg Show. When we come back, we'll be joined by Benefesh Zand, Iranian filmmaker, writer, talk about the situation in Syria and Iran. Right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't go away.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54, with a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th birthday commemorative edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax magazine every month.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we go to our next guest, I have really a sad story, and this certainly affects many of our listeners listening on our newest affiliate, 1450 WCTC in New Jersey. Flames are spreading rapidly along the boardwalk at Seaside Park at the Jersey Shore, an area that had been hit by Hurricane Sandy but survived. The fire started a couple of hours ago at Core Brothers Frozen Custard Shop, and it's destroyed at least 80% of the boardwalk in Seaside Park. This according to Seaside Park's police chief, who also says possibly 2 or 3 dozen businesses have also been destroyed. Strong winds, whipping of speeds of 20 to 30 miles per hour are presenting the biggest challenge for the firefighters who have been called in from neighboring communities, including Toms River, Seaside Heights, Point Pleasant, Island Heights, and Brick Township. So this is a terrible second punch to the gut, devastating a community that had been so ravaged and had made a comeback this summer from Sandy, and now to have this happen. It's a terrible story. We'll have more on this as more details become available, but I wanted to make everybody aware of that, certainly, especially those listening in New Jersey to on our affiliate WCTC 1450 AM. Okay, having said that, let's move along, and I guess it could best be said that Vladimir Putin today took a public swipe at Barack Obama. I believe that Kerry, at his press conference with his counterpart, got hit by his counterpart. You got Assad and Putin and the whole team playing a game with the United States, and there's really nothing much we could do about it right now. Joining us now to talk about what's going on and to talk about how Iran it plays into this and might respond if we ever did strike at Syria is Benefsheh Zand, Iranian writer and filmmaker who we have talked to before. Good to talk to you again.
Thank you very much, dear Steve.
Well, it's a pleasure. Okay, so, I've talked to so many people about this, and, Mickey Mouse, Mr. Magoo, a circus, a comedy show. How would you describe what you're seeing, unfold?
Well, it's as far as I'm concerned, one of the things that is truly shocking is the fact that as the U.S. team, the administration, is going along bumbling and fumbling, trying to get Putin to behave and get his little pal Assad to behave. One of the things that I constantly say and never happens is the fact that the U.S. administration is completely ignoring the fact that there are people out there who who just basically want governments in those countries, in Syria, in Egypt, in Iran, in Lebanon, that are have the separation of religion and state, that want nothing to do with the Sunni-Shia divide. They deserve to be promoted. They deserve to be helped and heard, and yet they are completely ignored. And ultimately, the fact that this has turned into a something of a Mark, like it's not even Marx Brothers. It's more like I don't even know what to put on. It's more like a Three Stooges show between Kerry, Hagel, and Obama at this point.
It absolutely is. Now, interesting, and I've played this, and people are going to start getting sick of it, but I think I'm the only one who caught this. I'm the only one who's playing it, because everybody I play it for, whether it's Rick Santorum or Charlie Hurd or anybody, they haven't heard it before, and they react to it. But President Obama was asked by Gwen Ifill on PBS on Monday when he did his 5 sit-downs, could Syria retaliate against us or against our allies in the region or our assets if we strike them? And he said, well, they can't, but Iran and Hezbollah could. But, now get this, but, he said, he doesn't think they will. Why? Because they're not crazy about what Assad did with the chemical weapons. And he said Iran had been victimized by chemical weapons, and both Iran and Hezbollah, they're really not crazy about what Assad did. So we, the United States, and he, the president, don't think that they will strike back if we strike Syria.
No, I heard that, and that's the big joke of it, is that people like Obama actually, and so many other people. I mean, I will be bold enough to say that 98% of the people that I see interviewed on every media channel, from Fox News to CNN, you name it, all over the place, do not understand the fact that the people, that those mullahs and the various leaders of those despotic regimes in that part of the world absolutely do not think according to the way that people think on this side of the world. They are unable to simply suspend their thinking and realize that if the West, the culture of the West, the language of the political language and modus operandi of the West is one way, that there is this archaic culture that still prevails, that still continues to fester within itself and keep control and maintain its power base, and it only does so through lies, manipulation, dissimulation, and every kind of trickery they can imagine. And so this continues to be the constant failure, their inability to realize and accept the fact that there's no sort of aligning that thinking and that mentality with the people over there.
We're talking to Banafsheh Zand, Iranian-born writer and filmmaker, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. What did you make of Putin's op-ed in the New York Times today?
Well, I mean, this is the thing for me as an Iranian who has, whose history and society maintains a millennia-long, if not centuries-long, social memory. This is not something that was shocking to me. The Russians are, in fact, some of the ballsiest people on the planet. And they have always been. I mean, even before October 1917, they have been in cahoots with every single despot in that region. They will continue to be, because they sort of see themselves as a hegemony of sorts. What kind of hegemony? Well, it just goes back to the nature of the Russian czarist identity. It could be Stalin or Lenin coming in, but nonetheless, it is that culture and that mentality, and they will always do whatever it takes in the bamboozling, in the lying, in the dissimulating. They're very similar to the mullahs, and that's one of the reasons why they have continued to back the mullahs, I can tell you, for 130 years already.
Yeah. All right, let me ask you one more question. The way this all plays out, if it plays out that, somehow we believe Putin in Syria, and we tell the world down the road, hey, it's all done. We know where their chemical weapons are, that now Assad's nice, blah, 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 and that's how it ends. Or if it doesn't end that way, but we do not take military action, or if we wind up taking military action against the advice of Congress, what message do you believe with those different scenarios? I mean, what's the worst one? Or what message will it send to Iran? I guess my question is, what could we do now, going forward, that would send somehow a message to Iran, which would say to Iran, everything you've seen up to this point, forget it, never mind, here's what we're really all about. I mean, it's too late for that, right?
It sort of is and it sort of isn't, actually. I mean, like I said, one of the things that one needs to do in dealing with those guys is feed them a taste of their own medicine. So, in other words, if there is any military action, as I said last time, okay, if one is to take military action, you either go whole hog for broke, you go to the very end, you deal with Iran head on, you make it a mission to put the boots on the ground, or you don't, because weakness is showing weakness, which is what basically Kerry and Obama have done up to now, is one of the things that Iran looks for and pushes for and tries to manipulate. And so at this point, Kerry and Obama have shown their hand to be weak, to be completely flaky, and have no policy whatsoever. They seem to be lost in the woods and shocked that actually their charm offensive hasn't gotten them anywhere. And so the only thing is if they go for the military option, it has to be and I don't mean it in the sense of the traditional sense of the nuclear option, but I mean the nuclear option in terms of putting the boots on the ground, going whole hog and saying, okay, we are going to calculate this chess game for a checkmate, and not just 4 moves on the board.
Gotcha. All right, listen, always a pleasure to talk to you, and we'll speak to you again real soon.
You. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Banafsheh Zand, ladies and gentlemen. She knows what she's talking about, and she knows more about Iran than anybody that I have talked to in recent years. Okay, when we come back, we'll give you another update on the fire at the Jersey Shore, and we will also get to the phones. And the number is 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. If there's anybody who wants to weigh in on the fire, who either has seen something or is come from that area or is from that area, or wants to just talk about the whole concept and the tragic irony of what's happening there right now, please do give us a call. 855-777-9660. One final segment left in the hour on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.